Okay, today we have the Google Nest Gen 4 with the temperature sensor. It's in the polished gold color here. We got this for a great deal. So we're going to be replacing our current system, which is the Honeywell T5. This system doesn't allow a temperature sensor. We have a baby on the way. We want to be able to put the sensor in the room. We also have a second thermostat that will fix upstairs and put the sensor in our master bedroom. That'll allow for us to be able to view the temperature in the other rooms and adjust the temperature accordingly. What we're gonna do here is we're gonna uninstall the T5 Honeywell here so we can install the Google Nest. The first thing you want to do is make sure you turn off your breaker, and then once that's off, we'll go ahead and remove this. With the faceplate here, we can just pull it off. On most faceplates, it's just a pull off. Underneath here, you're gonna have your base plate and trim plate. This, for the Honeywell, you pull the tab down and you'll see your wires in here. With these wires, you'll have these pins here that get depressed. When you put the wire in to hold them in place, you can just push this wire down and pull out the wires. The first thing I would recommend is you go ahead and take a picture of this to make sure you know what color of wire goes with what letter. That way when you're installing your new thermostat, you know exactly where wires go without having to label it. You can also label it if you want to. I'm kind of lazy, so I'm not going to. So I have my trusty flathead in case I have issues with depressing this and pulling out the wire. I also have a needle nose plier that I can utilize to grab the wire if I need to. So we'll go ahead and start pulling out the wires. So I have an issue with this blue wire here, trying to pull it out. The first thing I'm gonna try to do is just to press this a little bit more, wiggle it. It doesn't want to come out. So with it being stuck, I'll go ahead and use my pliers to go ahead and pull it out. Now that this is out, you want to make sure that these wires don't go back into the wall. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my flathead that I have here, and I'll just wrap up the wires around the flathead just to hold it in place for now. So that's in there, the wires won't go back. Well, we have to take off the base plate and the trim plate. Got a Phillips, we'll just go ahead and unscrew it. So now that we got that off, a little trick that you can do is just put your screw back in there. I'll pull up my flathead while holding the wires. Make sure you keep a hold of the wires so they don't go back into the wall. You don't want that to happen. And what I have here is I'll just take one of the wires and just wrap it around this screw. And that's all we needed to do to take off the T5 Honeywell system, and we're going to go ahead and switch over to installing the Nest now. Now it's time to install the Nest. So we have the box open here. We have the faceplate, which we put to the side. We have the sensor, which will go in one of the rooms. We don't need that right now. We have the base plate, where the wires will go in. Instructions, we don't need that. A trim plate, metal bracket, and last but not least, the screws. You can use these screws if you want to. I'm just going to utilize these. They look a little bit nicer and they come with it. And I'll go ahead when I get rid of the T5, donate or sell it, we'll make sure they have the screws for that. So with the trim plate, or with the metal plate, the metal bracket, you don't need to put it on, but since I already have drywall screws here, I'm gonna go ahead and utilize the metal plate to put it on there because it actually fits pretty perfectly. So that'll be our mounting point. You could just put the base plate directly onto the wall. You'll just put some drywall anchors here, but since I don't have it and I would have to patch all this, that's too much work. I don't want to do that. So we'll go ahead and put the metal bracket here. So when you're doing this, the metal bracket has these notches here. You don't want that against the wall because it'll stand off of the wall. You want to make sure you put the flat side against the wall. So first thing, put your wires through the middle of the hole, right? If you don't do that, you're gonna have to take everything back off and redo it. So make sure you keep a hold of this. You could, once again, put the flat head through here, but I'm just gonna hold on to it. I'm gonna screw this in by hand. Just enough to get it started. And then I'm gonna go ahead and wrap my wire around this screw to hold it while I grab the other screw. So I have that temporarily in place. Take these out. You want the longer screws. This screw should fit. It's the same size from the looks of it. Let's see. It's pretty much the same size. It's a little bit different in terms of their width, but it should fit. So go ahead and start screwing that in. I just want to screw it in. You don't make it tight. You just want to screw it in so it's holding it in place. Go ahead and take another wire and put it onto the screw that I just screwed on, just to hold the wires in place for now, since we're going to take out this left one. Now that we have the metal bracket on here loosely, I want to make sure that this bracket is level before tightening everything down. So I'm going to go ahead and make it a little bit tighter. Alright, I'm going to have to take off. We're going to utilize the screwdriver again. Try and make this as centered as possible on the hole. This is where it's going to sit, so you want to make sure your bracket is level. And there we go. We got that nice and level. We'll tighten this down. It looks like it moved a little. Checking. All right, looks good. Tighten the right side down. Looks like it moved slightly downward. So we're a little bit off when we tightened it down. It moved down. Just need to loosen it a little. That's pretty level. So now that we got that tightened down, we're gonna go ahead and put the trim plate on, and then we'll put the base plate. Always remember to keep a very good hold on your wire. Do not want to let that slip back into the wall. So we got that on, and as you can see, the protruding part of the metal bracket fits through these holes nicely. Then we'll put the wires through the base plate. That snaps right in to the trim. And the last thing we need to do is screw it on. So we'll go ahead and put the screws in. So the screws that we need are the smaller ones. That should slip right in there. Take your screwdriver, your Phillips, and start screwing it in. Put your other screw in the bottom. And the nice thing about these base plates is they have a built-in bubble to make it level. So you want to take a look. That looks pretty level to me. I'll go ahead and tighten this all the way down. Oh, see, we almost made a mistake there. Our wire is slipped back into the hole, but luckily we can just see it. We almost made a tragic mistake there, guys. So, with that in mind, I'm just gonna go ahead and stick one of the wires. And this is just a temporary hold. I'll just stick it right into the base plate to hold it. That's not going anywhere now. We almost made a mistake. We talked about it this entire video about making sure we didn't let that go into the wall, and I almost did it. Now then we got it on there. It's pretty flush against the wall. Now, I hope you guys took a picture of what your cables went to, which color went to what letter, because you're gonna have to stick that in here. Now we just need to put the wires in. If your wires are crooked, you can utilize your needle nose to straighten them out if need be. So with this one, you just need to press it in and you'll see the wires, the push. If you got it in, this little gray piece here on the plate will push back and your wire shouldn't come out. So that's how you know that you got it in there. Okay, now that I get all my wires in there, I'm gonna push some of that extra back up into the hole so that way everything can sit flush when we put the faceplate on. Okay, everything is on, everything is flush. Now that we have the base plate on and the trim on, we're gonna go ahead and grab our faceplate. On the back of the faceplate, you'll see a notch here, and that notch will line up with the notch on the base plate. You go ahead and line it up, and you just give it a nice firm push on. And that's pretty much it for the install. You go ahead and turn on your breaker, and this will turn on, and you connect it with the app and set it up. You can also install the sensor in one of the rooms. You can install the sensor in one of the rooms and connect it with your Nest. That's pretty much it for changing out this thermostat, the T5 that we had in the Honeywell, to the Google Nest. Hope you all have a great day.